is DJ Pizzo, hiphopsite.com, with my man, Mighty My. What's happening, man?
What's up, what's up, what's up?
We're here in fabulous Las Vegas right now.
Yeah.
Rumor has it that you've packed up your bags from the MF and Spot on Lexington, came out to Las Vegas, and you're like some kind of DJ of sorts at some multi-million-dollar hotel, or what's going on, man? What are you doing? What are you doing these days?
Yeah, I came out in about 2007, and I got an offer to come do like 3 or 4 nights a week out here. So after DJing for like, 10, 15 years in New York and getting paid a couple $100 a night, you know, it was like kind of like the payoff. Like, let me just go and kind of really be taken care of for which was always, it's always the DJ's dream.
Right.
You know what I mean? To go home at the end of the night and you're like, wow, like that was worth it, you know?
Right.
And it was a combination of that and Serato coming out, and knowing that I didn't have to carry crates of records anymore, that kind of became appealing again. So that was my initially why I came out, and 5 years later, I'm still out here.
Right.
I started at a smaller place in the Wynn, and then my boss was given this big beach club / club, so I moved over there, and now I'm opening up for these big house DJs every night.
So you're playing regularly at Surrender and Encore Beach Club, and you are opening for like some of the biggest DJs in the world. Just let people know like who you're playing with on regular basis or semi-regular basis.
Just big names in the house world, Tiesto and Afrojack and Skrillex, Diplo. So it's actually fun. It's like, because you get to play kind of what you want before these guys get on. You're almost encouraged to be eclectic.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's actually more fun to do that than it was when I would be doing the main time of the night and have to kind of play top 40. Every song had to be a known song that people could sing along with.
So this has given you an opportunity to really expand on your musical horizons and like really have an appreciation and understanding of house music.
Right.
Like who are some of the artists that you really admire in the house world, or the tracks you like to play, or artists that you like?
I mean, personally, I'm more into like kind of the soulful influenced house, disco house and tech house, and so there's people in that genre, like Alex Kenji and Armand Van Helden, obviously, and it's cool because I do get to play some of that stuff, because usually these guest DJs that are coming in are playing these really like
huge,
anthemic, they call them anthem,
Right. Big room.
So you're almost encouraged to play the exact opposite of how they're gonna play.
Right,
you know what I mean? So I get to play stuff that I want that's more, not so current sounding.
And who would you say, of all the guys that you play with, who would you say you have like the best rapport with, or you like to play with the best?
I would probably say Diplo.
Yeah.
Because he kind of comes from the school that we all come from,
Right.
And he's told me that he had, early High and Mighty records, and and A-Track also, because they're the ones that we can most relate to. These guys are ex-hip-hop DJs, playing dance music also.
Right.
So almost when you're opening for guys like this, you want to kind of show off your musical range a little, because you're like,
because they understand, they know, So you have an alias, Digital Milo, and this is so you can produce your own like house tracks and not confuse people about this Mighty My character who's done records for Tame One and people like that. So tell us about Digital Milo and how that whole thing came about.
Well, I think any DJ that's been DJing since the 80s, like we have, has this secret agenda of always wanting to have like a new alias, you know what I mean? You think for your whole life, should I have picked Mighty My? That's what you did in the 80s. You went with an adjective that went with your name, so you know what I mean? But as you get older, you're like, that sounds a little old school hip-hop-ish. So I just, started to have a house label and put out a lot of local acts in Vegas and my own records, so I just kind of went with that for the house productions. Not even DJing, DJing is still going as Mighty My. So.
And so that you have, you started a new label, Tribute the Label. And this is it seems primarily more of an electronic-based label, and then you started that with Eddie McDonald, right? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Eddie was also like a music director and resident DJ out here for years, and just recently moved to Atlantic City.
Right.
So Tribute was actually a name that he came up with that for a club he was going to open downtown.
Right.
And we just decided to name that the label, and we called it that because we tried to, pay tribute to musical influences. So some of the records have kind of, are like tributes to, what we liked growing up. You know what I mean? So they have, I did a tech house song called Tears, and it has this old Wu-Tang sample in it. So it's like me still, showing like
where you come from.
Right.
Right.
But just updated and quicker.
Right. And who are some of the other artists you're working with on that label?
The local like rapper singer named Lexi, and we've put a couple records out by her. One called Bottle Rats, which was like a theme for the girls in the Las Vegas clubs who are, mooching free alcohol.
Right.
And a local guy, a producer named Mega Man, who's going by Michael Maeda now, and as you know, he's like a real hot local producer that does really good remixes that people play. And a singer-songwriter named Sherry St. Germain, who has a show over at the Palms on every Friday.
Right.
So we've been putting out records for about 6 months now, and it's, slowly growing, and check it out. We have a new album out called Tribute, A First Look, which is kind of like a compilation of everything we've put out, and some new songs.
Okay. And you actually reunited with Cage.
Yeah.
And so you put out a single, is that right?
Yeah.
And then you're working on an EP or a full length?
Yeah, EP.
Tell us about that.
So the single out now is called The Void, and it actually features the girl I was just talking about, Sherry. She's singing on it.
Right.
And Mega Man produced it, and it's kind of a dubstep / hip hop record.
Right.
It's gotten some really good responses online, and it's doing well. It was like in the top 10 Beatport hip hop chart. And we're gonna come out with a full EP with Cage, and we've just been working on it, and it's going well.
So Cage has had like, he's really like always been experimental with his music. I mean, he has his like movies for the blind fans, and then he has his like Hell's Winter people, and then so and there's been positive and negative responses to any time he like decided to go in a different direction.
Right.
Which direction do you think you guys will take the music that you produce for the EP?
Well, it's definitely not going to be all electronic. It's probably the single's the only one. The other 2 or 3 that we've recorded so far are just pretty much hip-hop beats and him doing songs over. But, Cage seems to have a formula with his fans, and they really relate to him. So he has his own agenda that I think is kind of like premeditated. I think he knows, like he kind of plans it out each time he does a song, and has totally his own network, like through social media, and totally is one of those artists who just speaks to his fans through that. So, I think he's got a lot of recordings in the works. He's got different projects, one with Marilyn Manson, I think. So yeah, he's
still working with Cudi?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Cool. Any time when we can expect that?
I think the EP will probably come out in around June or July.
Yeah.
Well, actually July or August. It's already June.
And the EP is called?
I don't know. He's got like 5 different EPs coming out.
Right.
I'm not sure which one it's called.
Okay. Anything else you want to add?
I guess just look out for the tribute stuff. If you're in Vegas, come through Surrender or Encore Beach Club. See me selling out every night playing house music.
It's not selling out.
No, and thanks for coming through.
Absolutely.
And good to see everyone back from the hip hop site days.
Exactly.
Those were the times.
Yep, it was. DJ Pizzo, hip hop site, DJ Mighty My, aka Digital Milo.
All right.
We're out. Peace.